ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
You know you're always going to get scared. It's just part of, your brain telling you, don't do this. It's not normal. But, I prepared for the moment so much that it's like, I know I'm ready to do it.
That is 15-year-old skiing prodigy Indra Brown. In a couple of weeks, she will be an Olympian. And my feelings of inadequacy are showing. I mean, she's not even old enough to drink yet, which was on display at a recent podium where Brown didn't know how to pop a champagne cork. Actually needed the defending Olympic champ to show her how that is done. This story is hitting all the spots. A teenage Olympic medal hope who was about to become a household name. We are breaking down the phenom that is Indra Brown. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. The Winter Olympics are 2 weeks away and the Australian team is taking shape. Among them will be 15-year-old free skier Indra Brown. Simon Smale caught up with the teenager after a stellar year on the slopes ahead of the Olympic campaign. Simon, firstly, for those who are not familiar with Brown, who is this teenage sensation and how did she first get into skiing?
Oh, she's a phenomenon. I always think it sometimes takes a bit of a surprise for people to go, hang on, but she's Australian and she's, where did she go to discover this skiing talent? Well, she was born in Melbourne. She actually grew up skiing in Victoria. That was the first time she ever went on skis and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think the fun aspect was a huge part of it, and the creativity you can have just to express yourself and show the true love you have for the sport, just with how much you can be creative, change your style with what you're doing. There's no right or wrong in the sport.
She did get a bit of a stepping stone when her dad Grant got a job in Canada, so she ended up moving over there, and that's when, what else do you do in Canada in the winter other than ski? So that's exactly what she did, and that's where she really developed a real talent. She's back in Melbourne now, though, continued on with her skiing and has shown such a real aptitude for it, and is excelling in just about every way that you possibly can, most notably on the World Cup circuit.
She's 15 years of age, so naturally fairly new to the World Cup scene. What can you tell us about how she's adjusted to that global stage as she sort of made her way through the first few rounds of competition?
Well, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's such a different environment. I think, you grow up as a young athlete competing on a fairly regular basis, and you do your competitions at a sort of more regional level and school level, and you rise and rise and rise. And I think Indra Brown has just taken every step completely in her stride. It's just so comfortable for her. First ever World Cup event was at the 2022 Olympic venue, Secret Garden in Zhangjiakou in China. She finished in third place.
Representing Australia.
So just 15 years of age, the first ever World Cup start, and straight to the podium for Indra Brown.
She was on the podium with the reigning Olympic champion Eileen Gu and the reigning World Cup champion in Zoe Aiken of Great Britain. So it was the two best in the world. And then this 15-year-old Aussie who was right there with them. In her second event on the World Cup circuit, she moved over to the USA, to Copper Mountain, and she ended up coming second.
Coming in with a lot of speed, huge amplitude for the left side nine on that first hit. Follows it up with the right side nine. So back-to-back nines, really nice combination at the start of the run. And you see the amplitude is a step up from what we've seen from Abby and Riley. Go for switch 7. One final hit, going for that alley-oop with the Japan grab.
That's pretty impressive. Then she popped up to Calgary around New Year's and ended up winning gold. It's the third podium in 3 starts. It's the second time in history in freestyle skiing that has happened. She became the youngest ever gold medalist in Australian snow sport history.
But your winner here in Calgary for the first time ever on top of a World Cup podium, Indra Brown from Australia. 3 starts, 3 podiums, and now one of those a victory. Big congratulations, 15 years of age and already a World Cup winner.
She had a minor drop-off. It's crazy to say. She only finished 4th in the last World Cup event in Aspen earlier on this month, but it's still an enormously impressive start, and she's just taken it in her stride. The only thing that she struggled with, funnily enough, was getting the cork off the champagne bottle on the podium. She needed to have Eileen Gu help her.
As Eileen Gu just helps Indra Brown. I'm sure this is a situation Indra Brown will get used to. Many podiums coming in her career, I'm very sure.
It was an extremely special moment just to stand there with, an idol that I've looked up to for so long now. So it was just an incredible feeling. And then little big sister moment there with her helping me out with the champagne, which made it even better.
Speaks how much of a family environment and how supportive an environment she's actually gone into, which definitely has helped her being so young.
Some pessimistic people might argue, hey, it's great to see this 15-year-old doing so well in the early stages of her career, but there's not that much pressure, not that much expectation compared to, say, the Winter Olympic Games. Do you get the sense that next level of expectation, that next level of noise is going to be a challenge for her, or not so much?
I had a fantastic conversation with her earlier on this month, and she came across as one of the most level-headed 15-year-olds you're ever gonna come across. Part of that was down to her parents, Mum Anne, who travels with her all the time, and then her dad Grant. They're both supportive, very calm, very relaxed. She seemed very relaxed and very happy. They both said that it was all about her enjoyment, and the moment she stops enjoying it, really they would have to start questioning whether it's worth going all around the world doing this.
Yeah, we're happy to support her so long as her schoolwork doesn't suffer, as long as she's not kidding herself and she's still performing, and she's really genuinely enjoying it, and it's her choice to do this. And if all those planets align, it's a pretty special thing to be able to give a kid an opportunity to dare to dream, and that's what she's thriving on at the moment.
She is enjoying it. She's enjoying being with her friends in a supportive environment, completing tricks, doing these amazing things. The Olympics is a different beast. It absolutely is. Everybody speaks about when the first time from a competition point of view they go to the Olympics, they think, oh yeah, it's just another competition, until they see the rings, until they see the increased media, until they see the increased crowds, until they have to deal with the press a lot more than they would normally do. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. But every one of the freestyle skiers of this new generation that are coming through seem to just be able to take it in their stride so easily. That's something that I've been really impressed with all the freestyle skiers and snowboarders that I've spoken to. I can see Indra just completely taking it in her stride and just accepting what's happening and just going out there and being fun.
It's a dream come true to be able to represent Australia at the Olympics, and just it's something once I really started getting skiing I wanted to do for so long and dreamt of. So to have this opportunity at my age and to be getting these experiences it's incredible, and I'm so excited to get in Milan and see how the feel is for everything. That's, I guess, the benefit of being a teenager and being a young teenager at that, is you don't really think about the consequences. You don't think about the consequences of what happens if you fall off. You don't think about the consequences of what happens if you don't succeed. You do what you want to do, and it all comes up trumps for you. So yeah, I think she'll go pretty well.
As you say, not the first Australian to debut as a teenager. Gaselli in the snowboard halfpipe, age 16. Scotty James and Britt Cox, they were also 15 when they debuted at an Olympics. Is she leaning on people like that within the broader Winter Olympics setup for kind of guidance as we head to the Games?
Yeah, she said she'd spoken to Val quite a lot. He can give her a lot of advice. So it's been super nice just to get that insight on, taking in this experience, because it's such a, special one-in-a-lifetime one that you don't get so much. So just taking it in, not putting any pressure on myself. So just, having fun, enjoying the moment, and just seeing where I go from my runs and everything. Especially because she's leaning towards, after the Games, moving into the other park and pipe discipline. So she'll only be competing in the half pipe in Milan or in Livigno, as the case actually is. But then, as she sort of progresses, she'll want to move into the big air. She'll want to move into the slope style. Yeah, hopefully after the Olympics, I'll be doing all three, which is, my end goal, to compete in the 2030 Olympics for all three. That's exactly what Val Gaselli has done as well. Started out in the half pipe and has moved into the other disciplines as well. So she's been able to ask him and speak to him. But she said she's been able to speak to a lot of people, a lot of the more experienced people in the field, like Eileen Gu, this mega star in China. She was a 3-time Olympic medalist from Beijing. She won 2 golds and a silver. You couldn't move move for seeing her picture in China, and it's still like that now. She's just about on every single advertising billboard, the front page of every magazine, front cover of every magazine. But she's been able to speak to them. She's been able to speak to Zoe Aitken, the British youngster, who again is still a youngster as well. I think she's only 23. Still able to talk to them and talk to all the other youngsters on the field. And most of those park and pipe discipline free skiers and snowboarders end up going to the same venues for their World Cup. So there's a lot of support around her, and she's able to harness that really, really well.
Why do you think she's delaying competing at those other disciplines this Winter Olympics and just focusing on the halfpipe?
I think a lot of it comes down to the actual demands that it puts on a young body. I'm not a skier. I'm certainly not a freestyle skier in any way, in any case. But I understand that the half-pipe is, I guess, a relatively secure, stable one. It's something that a lot of them do a lot of when they're younger, so they're more used to that sort of environment. The big air, that's a risky discipline. You see ACLs get blown out. Valcaselli blew his ACL out earlier on in the season. We also had Daisy Thomas, who actually ruptured an ACL as well in the big air. You know, it can put a lot of strain on young bodies. I think partially the half-pipe can just be an event where the athletes can get used to competing, and it doesn't put too much pressure on them from a fatigue point of view as well. So I don't think there's anything too in-depth, if that makes sense. It's just a solid idea just to keep it relatively limited for now.
Play forecaster for us, Simon. What are Brown's chances of taking home a medal from Milan Cortina?
It's an enormous ask. We've already mentioned there's some incredibly talented people. I mean, Eileen Gu would have to go in as favourite. Zoe Aitken has been almost unstoppable when Gu Eileen has not been there over the last couple of weeks. But then you've got another couple of very, very good Chinese competitors, Zhang Kexin, for one. Sarah Irving is another one who's very, very solid, very impressive. So it's going to be interesting to see. Judged sports are so difficult to tell. You can get a set of judges that really like what Indra's bringing. You can get a set of judges that really value the tricks that the other athletes are bringing. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see. But, I mean, if she can put a good solid rundown. She only missed out on a podium in Aspen because she made a couple of little mistakes. You cut out the mistakes, I think you're in with a chance, and she's in as good a chance as any. And, I mean, what an amazing story that would be.
These Winter Olympics are looming as an absolute doozy for Australia. Simon Smale is going to be there to cover all the action. Simon, thanks so much for your time.
No problem at all, anytime.
Headlines. Australian Open, and you know what we love? This mindset from Alex de Minaur after his second round win over big hitting Serb Hamar Medjedovic.
I'm currently 6th in the world, right? And I've gotten there because I can play some ball too, right? So even if my opponent's playing some lights out tennis, there's still ways where I can hurt my opponent and get them out of that kind of zone. So more than feeling sorry for myself, I'm starting to look at it the other way.
Next up for Australia's best player is another baller, 29th seed American Francis Tiafoe. Other locals have been struggling today. Dane Sweeney dispatched by Ben Shelton. Rinky Hijikata was beaten also. Taylor Preston eliminated in the women's. For live coverage, check the ABC Listen app. For rolling analysis, look at the ABC Sport website. The Hurricanes' chances of going back-to-back are alive in the BBL. Hobart escaping against the Stars at home. Hilton Cartwright hit a 6 off the penultimate ball of the game to leave Melbourne needing 5 off 1 delivery. He couldn't quite get them the win. The Canes now take on the Sixers at the SCG for a spot in the final against Perth in Perth. Former NBL player AJ Ogilvy has revealed his gate. The ex-Sydney King in Illawarra Hawk shared his sexuality in an interview ahead of the league's Pride round this weekend. And English cricketer Harry Brook has apologised for getting tangled with a bouncer the night before an international game in New Zealand prior to the Ashes tour.
I want to say sorry to my teammates, to all the fans that travel far and wide to watch us spend a lot of money on coming out to watch us play cricket and supporting us, and to the ECB for putting them in a tricky situation, and it'll never happen again, and like I said, I'm extremely sorry.
I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Poppy Penny. Thanks to FIS and Snow's Best Podcast for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.